Fans of Sister Wives are drawing a lot of comparisons to Kody Brown's new hairstyle. This year, Sister Wives fans have witnessed a different side of Kody Brown. Brown has been taking part in the reality show Special Forces, World's Toughest Test. Kody has been talking openly about his relationship with his kids, as well as his multiple marriages. Fans compared Kody to a character from The Hunger Games after he recently changed his appearance. Sister Wives and other TLC viewers were taken aback to see Kody's name on the list of competitors. He was transferred from his castle, as he refers to it, in Flagstaff in Arizona, to a military-style sitting in Morocco as a result of the competition. While other competitors give up within days, Kody continues to put his all into the competition. The season finale has been reached by Kody. The Fox reality competition tests the physical, mental, and emotional abilities of the wealthy and well-known. Although his co-stars don't like Kody Brown in general, he is still in the game and has a good chance of winning. Months before the Sister Wives episode that aired on November 17th, Kody had started to make some adjustments. On Special Forces, Kody Brown accepted responsibility for his wife's departure at a tearful moment. He utterly changed his mind, however, in a recent interview with Good Day New York. "I went into it going, yeah, I was the problem. But in all reality, it's to be shared with ex-wives," he stated when asked who was responsible for the breakdown of the multiple marriages. Since all Sister Wives fans have seen the more detailed account of Brown's life through the show and their books, fans chastised him for retracting these statements. After hearing the wives' points of view, fans won't listen to his excuses because it seems like there was much more involved than Kody's lack of involvement in the family breakup. The interview that Kody did to promote Thursday's season finale of The Hunger Games sparked a lot of discussion among Sister Wives viewers. But they don't like it when I take back the things he was originally responsible for. The fans aren't prepared to accept all of this. Will Kody at least make amends enough for some of the children to notice that he is making an effort to become a better person? Will Kody be able to win over some of the kids' approval? As he concludes the competition, will Kody gain anything from at least trying? For everything related to Sister Wives, come here. For updates, spoilers, and news on Sister Wives, return frequently. But on the Friday, November 21st, episode of The Vile Files Reunion Edition podcast, Kody talked about his perseverance on the show and what the following day had. "I was going to be there for 10 days because I felt like I was paid for that time. I was curious to see what would happen next. After a rigorous interrogation and mock capture exercise, Kody was eliminated during Thursday's season finale." Kody was delighted to address some pressing queries from viewers during their conversation with host Nick Viall. To read some of the shocking revelations the Sister Wives star made about his time on Special Forces, continue reading. Kody has permitted TLC cameras to document his life with his 4 wives, Robyn, Christine, Janelle, and Mary Brown, as well as their 18 children since 2010. He is currently only married to Robyn. Kody said in his most recent interview that appearing on reality TV is a challenge. Therefore, if Robyn, 47, chose to go, he wouldn't object. He reaffirmed that all is well in their relationship after saying, "I'd like to retire my wife Robyn from reality television so they can't pit us against each other now. We're strong. I like to talk about my wife, who is my favorite person into the world, but is shy and doesn't want me to talk about her." Nick, 45, questioned whether divorcing 3 spouses was as costly as it seemed at one point in the chat. "I believe it has been emotionally costly in an unfathomable way," Kody said. "The marriage was not lawful. Only the cost of raising children was high. There was no need to pay alimony because they all earned more money than I did." Kody claimed that the divides affected his mental health regardless of the monetary expense. He clarified, "I think something just tweaked me a little bit. It is impossible to emerge from 3 divorces without experiencing some form of mental illness." Kody stumbled when a female intelligence officer questioned him during Thursday's Special Forces season finale. Kody also talked about his prejudice toward women in a September edition of the Fox program. He said, "I'm going to say this at the risk of sounding sexist. I believe that women want to be loved and men want to be respected. Respecting me is more important to me than whether you love me." In response to accusations that he might be sexist, Kody said, "Nick, I always preferred the company of women to men. You don't have to act like a gentleman all the time in a men's world," he added. "But because I was around women all the time and liked their company, I used to be good at constantly talking about what was appropriate around women. Her co-star brought a bag of supplements the size of this couch to the show, according to 26-year-old Brianna. Kody responded, "It wasn't ADHD medication, but I had some stuff that was nootropics," when asked what he took. "The doctor allowed me to bring a packet of nootropics, which are just vitamins. After that, I took a vitamin D supplement and a caffeine supplement. I had something to assist me fall asleep after that. I also wore a mouthguard." On his flight back to the United States, Kody made the decision to spoil himself with a memorable dinner to commemorate the conclusion of Special Forces. He began by praising the meal, saying, "I'm flying Emirates on the way back and they feed me caviar and filet mignon. It was an enormous aircraft. You can now watch Special Forces, World's Toughest Test on Hulu." But although there had always been complexity in the Brown family, this chapter felt more significant than the others. One statement made during a late-night filming session marked the beginning of it. "Maybe our biggest mistake was that we trusted him." Christine was seated on the leather couch in the low light of the camera. The calm that follows years of storms was evident in her eyes. Chapter 1. A home constructed on promises. When Christine married Kody years ago, she firmly believed in the picture he created of a single, big family that was linked, loving, and united. She pictured wives helping one another, kids laughing together, and everyone aiming for the same thing: happiness. Kody pledged equality, justice, and integrity. He often stated, "We'll build this life together." They too had faith in him. When he promised that the wives would be treated equally, Christine believed him. When Janelle sacrificed her professional aspirations to assist in raising the children, she trusted him. When Mary remained faithful despite painful misunderstandings, she trusted him. When Robyn joined the family, she trusted him, thinking she was becoming a part of something dignified and powerful. Promises, however, are simple. The true test is keeping them. Years went by, deep splits developed from tiny cracks. Christine was called emotional whenever she questioned choices. Janelle felt disregarded when she requested greater autonomy. Mary, in silent pain, felt cut off from everything. Inadvertently, Robyn ended up at the center of everything. The wives weren't the issue. Leadership decisions made without listening were the issue. Robyn and Kody began to spend more time together. He claimed that it made sense that the children there required his assistance more. However, reasoning does not make loneliness go away. The other spouses waited at windows for the infrequent headlights. Chapter 3. The Awakening Moment. Following a heated family argument one evening regarding money relocating, Kody concluded his remarks by saying, "You have to have faith in me. I am aware of this family's best interests." The spouses exchanged glances. In that instant, something changed. It was not intended to demand trust. Earning it was the plan. Christine whispered to Janelle in the kitchen later that evening, "For years we trusted him, but he failed to keep our hearts safe." Janelle gave a nod. "For once, I want to make my own decisions in life, not only carry out someone else's strategy." The first person to leave was Christine, but not because she was angry. She left because she at last realized, to someone who doesn't return the favor, trust isn't loyalty. Mutual trust is necessary. Kody was divorced by her. She shifted. She grinned even more. She continued to laugh. She reverted to her former self. Janelle began to doubt everything and discovered that working for herself gave her power. Mary stopped hoping for love that wasn't coming her way. For the first time, Robyn understood the price of being the favorite. Getting picked has its repercussions. Years later, as women who at last trusted themselves, the wives discovered a new kind of peace, not as a group living under a single husband. Christine found love that paid attention when she remarried. Janelle made her own fortune while traveling. Through her business, Mary established a small haven for herself. Even Robyn started redefining herself beyond the labels of last wife standing and favorite. What about Kody? His life was a reflection of the decisions he made. The family was no longer what he had imagined, but it's possible that this result was never intended to be determined by one individual. The True Trust Epilogue. The narrative concluded with enlightenment rather than betrayal, because it was never true that the spouses stopped believing in Kody. In actuality, they gained greater self-confidence, and they had always been entitled to that freedom. But as Christine Brown stood in the corridor, holding a stack of documents that would finally put a 30-year chapter in her life to an end, rain drummed quietly against the courthouse windows. Her face was pale but determined, and the lights above her flickered a little. It wasn't just any day, though. Today would be the official start of her divorce from Kody Brown. This was the moment she had dreamed about 1,000 times. Some of her dreams were loud and yelling, while others were peaceful and included the basic tranquility she so desperately desired. However, she woke up this morning feeling unusually at ease. It wasn't only relief or retaliation, it was the sensation of at last making her own decision. Minutes later, Kody entered the hallway with his arms crossed tightly, his demeanor weighty and impatient. Instead of looking into Christine's eyes, he concentrated on the beeping lights. "So, is this it?" His tone was bland as he asked. Christine smiled softly and nodded. "Yes, the time has come. No tears were shed, no spectacular breakdown, just two individuals who had outgrown, battled, dreamed, and loved one another." The judge came in, motioned for them to take a seat, and gave them the final paperwork. Christine felt lighter with every signing. Even when Kody's jaw constricted, he signed. The judge firmly said, "Marriage dissolved." Like a door closing, those words reverberated in Christine's heart. The other spouses responded differently when she came home to Flagstaff. Mary was drinking tea at the kitchen table. She battled admiration and envy simultaneously. It was the bravest thing Christine had ever been. "You succeeded," Mary murmured. "I'm not sure if I could." "You can," Christine said softly. "When you're ready." Christine was embraced by Janelle, who has always been her closest friend. "You have my admiration. Perhaps more of us should begin telling our own stories." Unsure and emotional, Robyn wept quietly. Family harmony had been the cornerstone of her dreams, but now it was crumbling. "Kody will find this difficult," she remarked. "Kody made his decisions," Christine replied plainly. Weeks went by. Moving trucks came and went, old photos were boxed up, and divorce papers were filed away. Christine only brought the necessities, including her books, sentimental items from her family, and her cherished yellow teapot that she would not part with. To be nearer to her daughters, she relocated to Utah. Her evenings were filled with laughing and home-cooked dinners that didn't have to feed 20 people, and she painted her walls sunshine gold and added colorful curtains to her kitchen. She sat outside, wrapped in a blanket, and gazed at the moon on her first night at her new house. She was free to keep her space, her choices, her marriage, and her ambitions to herself for the first time in decades. She said to herself in a whisper, "I am sufficient." In addition to hiking and taking cooking classes, Christine also launched a little blog called Free Sister Living, where she shared recipes and growth tales. Her voyage was followed by thousands. Despite not seeking love, she discovered something even more potent, a bond with herself. She found again what she really wanted, what made her laugh, and what piqued her curiosity. Meanwhile, Kody started to feel the strain of a family that was getting smaller and relationships that were falling apart. However, Christine no longer held himself accountable for his emotions. That was too much for her to bear. Christine was filled with appreciation as she stood in her bright Utah kitchen a year later, surrounded by kids, grandchildren, and the aroma of cinnamon rolls. No husband in common, no rivalry for attention, no life half-lived. Only her. Her decisions, her tranquility. Her narrative didn't stop with the divorce. Rather, it marked the start of the life she had always deserved. But a huge, endearing fictional story about sister wives. It was never calm growing up in the big, colorful Brown household. Little moments may easily be missed with so many children, continual activity, shared duties, mixed laughing, and occasional pandemonium. The mystery surrounding Kody Brown's childhood nickname, George, however, remained like glue. The odd start. Kody earned it before she was even 2 years old. The family got together in the living room one summer afternoon for a unique story reading experience. Kody chose to read George the Great Adventurer, a children's book about a brave little adventurer who faced up against lions, snakes, and even a grumpy talking mountain, while his curly hair was bouncing everywhere. Baby Mykelti continued to clutch the book while Kody read, pointing frantically to the cartoon boy on each page, while talking as though she recognized him. She yelled her first coherent word ever as she slapped the book with her small palm. "George!" Everybody froze. It was George, not Mama, Dada, or even Juice. Mary, Christine, and Janelle all started giggling, even though Robyn wasn't around at the time. The name stayed like superglue after that day. Mykelti, like the George in the storybook, marched instead of waddling when she first started to walk. She was stiff, determined, and dramatic. She tried to ride the family dog like a horse once, climbed on tables, and marched upstairs where she wasn't supposed to. Maddie described it as horrifying, while Hunter described it as spectacular. Christine made a joke. She is a tiny adventurer, not a baby. Therefore, the children chanted whenever she did something bold or unusual. "George! George! George!" Mykelti was unconcerned. She adored it. She would embrace her new identity and puff up her chest like a proud pigeon. Moments of embarrassment. She detested the moniker by the time she was 6 years old, especially when her siblings used it in public. A clerk once inquired nicely in a supermarket store, "Hello, my love, what's your name?" Logan yelled before Mykelti could respond, "George is her name," the cashier whispered, perplexed, as she gazed at her tiny pink garment covered in sparkling butterflies. "Oh, all right." Christine desired to dissolve into the ground. Mykelti, then a teenager, grumbled to her mother Christine years later, "What prevented you from giving me a typical nickname? You know, like Mickey or Kelty, not anything strange like George." With a sigh, Christine went to the garage and took out the old book. The one that began it all. Although the cover was faded and the pages were old, Mykelti had never seen this on the first page. A note written by hand for the world's most inquisitive and daring child. Never allow others to dictate who you should be. Love. Dad Kody wrote it. On the day of her birth, he had written it. Christine softly informed her, "You were courageous before you could even speak, so we called you George. You were supposed to discover, not to follow others." Mykelti's gaze grew softer. She didn't roll her eyes at her parents for once. Mykelti told the tale for fun during a family get-together years later as an adult. When she told them about the tragedy at the grocery store, everyone chuckled. However, she concluded her tale with something surprising. "I suppose George shaped who I am. Independent, obstinate, and daring. Thus, I am honored to be George." Tony gave her a cheek kiss before jokingly adding, "So I suppose I'm George's wife." The renowned moniker found finality as they all laughed. In conclusion, despite being a jest at first, the name became a symbol of a little child who, while living in a large, complex household, refused to be anything other than herself. Mykelti Brown became George, the great adventurer, not only in a storybook, but in real life. Hi there, lovely viewers. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sabrina, and I hope you're having a great day. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video.